Everyone, Coach Mark here. So this week I want to share with you this story about this young man that visits this village because he wants to get some advice from this wise old man. So the young man, he stumbles into this village and he's looking for this old man, looking for him, finally finds the old man, right? So he goes up to the older wise man and says, "Look, I need to get some advice from you. There's a group of people, and all they do is just criticize people all day. That's all they do is criticize people. And every single time I hear them, it upsets me so much. It just makes me want to tear into them, right? I just get so upset every single time I hear these people criticizing people, and I really want to say something about them, but guess what? I don't want to be just like them. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be like them, but I don't know what to do." So the old man says, "Okay, I see. I see." He said, "Let me ask you a question. Aren't you the young man that a little while ago, a few months ago, you were in a very dangerous situation?" He says, "Oh, yes. Let me tell you. So one day I was walking out into the forest, and I probably strayed a little bit too deep into the forest, and all of a sudden I see this whole pack of wolves start chasing after me." So the old man says to the young guy, "Well, what did you do?" He says, "Man, I just climbed up this tree and I barely got up there because these wolves were about to tear me apart, right? And I just barely made it up the tree, and I just had to sit on a branch, right? Because the wolves, if anyhow would have went down or they would have gotten their hands on me, they would have totally tore me apart." So the old man says, "Well, how did you get away?" He says, "Well, I just kind of waited because, I couldn't go down. So I just waited until they got tired. And once they kind of got tired and they kind of were taking a little nap or whatever it is that wolves do, I jumped down and I ran. And then as soon as they saw me running, they started chasing me again. Then I jumped up another tree and I just sat there and waited." And I said, well, and then the old man says, "Well, what did the wolves do?" He said, "They just rested right there by the tree. And once I saw them kind of going and taking a nap again, I would jump down and do the same thing again until they got real close to me, and I would jump up another tree." He said, "How long were you doing this for?" He says, "For about 2 days." And then the old man says, "Well, what eventually happened?" He says, "I just kept doing it, kept just climbing up a tree, waiting for them to get tired. Then I would jump down and then go to another tree as I would get closer and closer and closer back to my village. And then eventually, after about 2 days, a group of hunters heard me because I was screaming, and then they ended up coming out and chasing the wolves away. So I was able to free myself." So the old man says, "Well, did you get mad at the wolves for wanting for wanting to tear you apart?" And the young man says, "Nah, I didn't get mad at the wolves because that's what they do. That's what they do. I was going to be their dinner. That's what wolves do. If they had an opportunity to tear me apart, they would have. But I didn't get mad about it. I realized the situation that I was in, and all I was thinking about was just trying to get free." So he says, "Well, why would you get mad at the people that are doing the same thing? You got to understand that that's just who they are. That's what they do." So, the moral of that story is that you're going to run across people that are just, that talk bad about you, that are just some of the worst type of people, but you have to realize that they are just who they are, and it doesn't make sense for you to get mad about them being who they are, just like you wouldn't get mad at the wolves for doing what wolves do, right? Some people, they just do what they do. I always say people are just on what they're on, and maybe they're just not on the same thing that you're on, and you can't get mad at them. You can't allow them to upset you. You just got to realize that, you know what? That's what they do. You don't do the same thing, and you just carry on and don't allow those people to upset or bother you, because if you do, guess what? They win, not you. All right. So I hope you guys got something from that story. Just remember that people are just going to be on what they're on. They're going to do what they do, and you can't change that. But you can make sure that you don't allow what it is that they do and what they say to bother you, because they're just going to continually do what they do. All right. Hope you guys got something from that, and I will see you next week.